On the evening of December 11, 2003, Sean suddenly woke up from a daze. He looked around and realized that it was already late at night, and the forest around him was pitch black. He found himself and his friend Ashley both sleeping in a tree above a river, where nothing could be seen below in the water. He was still a bit groggy from the brief nap, but quickly regained full consciousness after only a moment of thought. A wave of extreme fear washed over him. He instantly snapped back to the terrifying reality. Just hours ago, there had been 3 of them, but one of their friends had been killed the previous afternoon. Sean and Ashley had only managed to escape death by climbing into the tree. Suddenly, a flash of lightning lit up the sky, and Sean noticed movement on the river's surface. Fear overwhelmed him. The creature was still there. It was patiently lurking nearby, waiting for them to come down from the tree. Welcome to our channel, where we explore nature, strange events, and terrifying stories. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Today, we'll cover a horrifying animal attack, the Blackwater Beast. The Northern Territory is located in northern Australia and is one of the country's 2 inland territories. Covering an area of 1.73 million square kilometers, the northern part has a tropical climate, while the central and western areas are mostly plains and deserts. The Northern Territory is sparsely populated, with only about 250,000 people, despite being twice the size of Vietnam and Thailand combined. It's a desolate area where human presence is minimal. On December 10, 2003, 19-year-old Sean Blowers, along with his 2 childhood friends, 22-year-old Brett Mann and 19-year-old Ashley McGough, were speeding along the rural roads of the Northern Territory. All 3 were locals of Darwin, the territory's capital. Their plan was to go west of Darwin and ride quad bikes, their favorite hobby. Heading southwest, they passed through Kakadu National Park, a vast stretch of typical Australian wilderness and broad plains that provided the perfect setting for their ride. Along the way, they saw many kangaroos, termite mounds, and small animals drinking by the river. The trio was filled with a sense of freedom and tranquility, thoroughly enjoying their immersion in nature. Little did they know that lurking behind this beautiful scene was a terrifying danger. By midday, they had reached the northern part of the park and found a dry salt lake where they began riding their quad bikes, enjoying hours of fun. After a while, Brett suggested they head to the river to wash off the mud. Brett, being the oldest and a mechanic by trade, was someone both Sean and Ashley looked up to, so they quickly agreed without hesitation. The nearest water source was a brackish river called the Finniss River, surrounded by dark-colored vegetation. The shadows of the trees reflected on the water's surface, making the river appear pitch black. Around 4:30 p.m., they jumped into the shallow part of the river to wash up. Suddenly, Brett slipped and was swept away by the current. It was the rainy season, and the river was more turbulent than usual. Despite this, all 3 were strong swimmers, so Sean and Ashley decided to follow Brett downstream, treating it as part of the adventure. They floated along with the current for about a kilometer, swimming and playing, considering it a fun experience. But just as they were preparing to exit the river, Sean heard Ashley scream. There was something in the water. Almost every Australian knows the rule: never swim in unsupervised areas, whether it's the sea or a river, as dangerous creatures might be lurking. Saltwater crocodiles, sharks, blue-ringed octopuses, and box jellyfish are all capable of killing. However, the trio had been too engrossed in their fun to consider the dangers, especially since they were familiar with the area. The moment they realized something was in the water, they were petrified. The Finniss River, being a brackish waterway close to the sea, could harbor both riverine and marine predators. Without hesitation, they frantically swam toward the nearest tree. Sean and Ashley successfully climbed the tree. When they looked at each other, they saw that both were pale with fear. Their fear deepened when they realized Brett was missing. The river around them was eerily calm, with only the sound of the current. They scanned the area, hoping Brett would reappear. Then, they noticed something red floating toward them. As it got closer, they recognized it as something Brett had been wearing. But as the object drew nearer, both Sean and Ashley broke out in cold sweat. A massive crocodile surfaced from the water, gripping Brett in its jaws. Brett's twisted body hung limply as the crocodile toyed with it, seemingly showing off to the two terrified survivors. His neck was twisted at an unnatural angle, he was clearly dead. The predator was a saltwater crocodile. Saltwater crocodiles, the largest crocodilians on Earth, are the world's largest living reptiles. They thrive in both coastal regions and brackish rivers, and are known for their aggression. They are found across Southeast Asia and Australia. These crocodiles can exert a bite force of up to 2 tons, and males can reach lengths to 7 meters. Humans are among their regular prey. The one that killed Brett was estimated to be at least 4 meters long. Stunned and unsure what to do, Sean and Ashley could only stare helplessly as the crocodile chewed on Brett's lifeless body, as if it were flaunting its kill. After what felt like an eternity, the crocodile finally sank beneath the water, taking Brett with it. Sean and Ashley snapped back to reality, trying to assess their situation. They were stranded in a tree in the middle of the river. The river was about 40 meters wide, and they would need to swim at least 20 meters to reach the shore. Even at their fastest, it would take around 20 seconds, but they had no guarantee the crocodile wouldn't attack again. Or maybe there are other crocodiles in water. Their other option was to stay in the tree and hope for rescue. Their families knew they had come to the Northern Territory for a quad biking trip, but no one knew their exact location, making a timely rescue unlikely. Without food or fresh water, they wouldn't last long. As Sean crouched in the tree, staring at the water, mentally preparing for a swim to the shore, a crocodile suddenly lunged at him from the water. It narrowly missed him. The shock was so intense that he nearly suffered a heart attack. As locals, both Sean and Ashley knew a bit about crocodiles, but they had never heard of a crocodile attacking, then leaving its prey only to stalk others. However, this crocodile looked like the same one that had killed Brett. What was going on? Was this crocodile planning something? What was even more terrifying was the sense that the crocodile looked like fully understood their predicament. It seemed to be waiting, watching him, strategizing. This animal was far more intelligent than they had imagined. After that scare, the idea of swimming to safety was no longer an option. They were trapped in the tree, waiting for rescue. Hugging the tree trunk tightly, the two of them couldn't afford to let any part of their bodies dangle below the branches. When they got tired of standing, they squatted, and when they got tired of squatting, they stood. A few hours later, their limbs began to go numb. Fear and exhaustion took their toll, and despair crept in. As night fell, the sky opened up with heavy rain. They finally have fresh water to drink. The rainwater gave them a brief reprieve, but they soon realized that the water level was rising. It means water bringing the crocodile even closer to them. The two clung to separate branches. Sean's branch was about 3.5 meters above the water, while Ashley's was about 4 meters up. Sean grabbed onto a higher branch, trying to climb, but disaster struck. He slipped and fell into the water. In a frenzy, he scrambled to get back onto the tree, and to his amazement, he managed to climb back up in no time. Looking back, he saw the crocodile exactly where he had been moments earlier, staring up at him. By the early morning of December 11th, they had been stuck in the tree for over 10 hours. Sean climbed onto Ashley's branch. After a while, a violent storm blew in, and the wind shook the tree. The two were utterly exhausted, clinging desperately to the branches. Every now and then, they would try to doze off, but the other would immediately wake them up. they couldn't afford to fall into the water again. The cold, hunger, exhaustion, and terror drove them to the brink of madness. To make matters worse, the occasional flashes of lightning illuminated the crocodile below, lurking like a ghost. Sean had a sinking feeling. The crocodile knew they were nearing their limit, just waiting for them to fall. At dawn on December 11th, Sean's parents, worried after their son hadn't returned, reported him missing. By 7 a.m., a search team set out from Darwin. At around 2 p.m., a rescue helicopter spotted the two young men in the tree. Both looked extremely weak, and from the helicopter, the rescuers could see a crocodile circling below. Around 2:30 p.m., the team finally managed to rescue the pair, and the crocodile vanished as if into thin air. The two were so traumatized that they were initially unable to speak coherently. Once the search team understood what had happened and realized that Brett had been killed, they began searching for his body but found no trace of him, or the crocodile. Many people think that crocodiles are low-intelligence animals because the proportion of their brain size is quite small. However, in reality, crocodiles possess a more complex brain compared to other reptiles. They have excellent memory, and can precisely remember the timing of the wildebeest migration. Some crocodile keepers even avoid feeding crocodiles at the same time every day to prevent the animals from memorizing the schedule. Certain crocodiles use branches and sticks as tools to lure nesting birds for hunting. They also hunt in groups, forming a crescent shape to trap fish in shallow waters. These behaviors all indicate that crocodiles possess an astonishing ability when it comes to hunting. Additionally, they are highly territorial creatures. According to some scholars' analysis, on the afternoon when Sean and his two companions entered the Finniss River, they had already stepped into the crocodile's territory. The crocodile first killed Brett and then noticed that the other two were trapped in a tree. It hid Brett's body and waited at the base of the tree, planning to finish off the remaining two. Saltwater crocodiles can stay in the same spot for days. Had the rescue team arrived any later, the already exhausted Sean and Ashley would likely have met a tragic end. Sean later told the police that because it was a familiar small river, and they had never seen anything frightening there before, so they didn't pay much attention to potential dangers. But when they actually encountered the crocodile, the fear they experienced was beyond words. Modern humans seem to have forgotten the fear of being preyed upon by wild animals. However, if you live in an area where predators roam, or if you travel to such places, it is crucial to remind yourself to be cautious and vigilant.